What's the best way to cook a steak? What's it like to start a business during the pandemic? What's the deal with keto? Hi, I'm Dave, and along with my partners from Forefathers Food Co., we'll host a weekly podcast called Kitchen Mix. Each week, along with some great knowledgeable guests, we'll chat about the topics related to food, small business, nutrition, and many others. At the end of each episode, we'll share a delicious recipe, details to what we drank, and a cool DJ set. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Kitchen Mix Podcast, episode number 8. I'm your host, Dave Tomasetti, a.k.a. DJ Dave, and my co-host for tonight is none other than our Forefathers chef and one of our partners in the company, Dino Pontoni. Welcome, Dino.
Good evening.
For those tuning in on the Forefathers Network, we are on Twitch Network. Want to say thank you for coming on board. We're also going to be on YouTube, Facebook profile, Facebook pages. We're in 5 channels. So I'm going to list all those channels afterwards, but this episode will be broadcasted everywhere, just like City TV. So please welcome to my studio the owner and founder of FarmGirl, Peter Adamo. Thank you, Peter, for taking the time out of your schedule for coming in tonight.
My pleasure.
And I don't know how far were you. Where's your drive? Where are you coming from?
So I'm, you know, St. George's Golf Club?
Yes.
So like Islington, Dundas?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm right in that area.
Okay, so it's not too bad.
No,
No, that's not too bad at all. Okay. Well, listen, we're super excited, and I want everyone to know just a quick, just a bit about FarmGirl before we dive right into Peter. FarmGirl is has a huge line of ingredients. Ingredient-focused, low-carb, diabetic, and keto-friendly products. For example, low-carb pizza crust mix, low-carb caramel banana cake mix. I don't know how the fuck you can get low-carb caramel banana cake mix, but it's done.
It sounds good.
Sounds good. So, Peter, listen, tell us a bit about your company and how it came about and your mission about your company.
Yep. So we started about. It's probably been about 2.5 years.
Okay.
I was with Shopify prior.
Right.
And I was with Shopify I ran their food. Well, I ran a big portion of their food program from when there were 35 people all the way up to, 1,200 pre-pandemic. And then like every, chef, you get burnt out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Serving 1,200 people a day?
A day.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
It was
shit.
Yeah,
Dino knows that type of. He knows that industry.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was high stress, just
Right.
it was crazy, but it was an amazing experience.
For sure.
Yeah, and then when I decided that was it, I was hanging it up, and
Right.
I sat down with one of the the founders, and he just gave me some amazing advice, which I guess to him was just intuitive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Start a Shopify store. That's what you do when you leave.
Right.
Right. Okay. Right.
Now, for those who don't know the Shopify program, basically it's an online store, online e-commerce based.
It's a platform that allows you to launch a B2C product or suite of products incredibly easily, and allows you to scale from start to multi-million-dollar company, right? And
Right.
It's really just about that you have your platform from Shopify, and it's just really about how you what apps you add that allow you to scale, right?
To scale a business.
Yeah.
Right.
So very little coding needed, and it's
Very simple.
It's really simple. Well, it's as simple or as complicated as it needs to be, right?
Right,
And that
right.
complexity comes based on really just how many consumers and how much revenue you're doing. So, So when I left, I took that advice with sort of a grain of salt, and I started out by doing a boot camp through a company called ClickFunnels, which was about a 3-month boot camp. They're based out of Idaho, and what they do is they have a cloud-based software system that allows you to build funnels, right? Which I had at the time no idea what a funnel was.
Right.
But it was a 3-month course on the state of marketing, this is now going about 3.5 years ago. I settled on FarmGirl because, obviously, coming from the food industry, having sort of, a food science background, My wife was diagnosed with Parkinson's 10 years ago, and she was put on at the time. We met a doctor in Australia, and she was put on a modified ketogenic diet, which really helped with her symptoms. So we'd been cooking, modified keto, not full keto, and it really helped with suppression of her symptoms. So, FarmGirl just sort of became an extension of, and Dino and I are cousins, so it was an extension of sort of like our culture, of sort of how we grew up, which was really, as as an Italian, it's that connection between, land, food, family, the farm, and just sort of how we could introduce that to an audience in just sort of an interesting and creative way, and that's how it started.
Awesome. I mean, you mentioned the Italian background, the heritage, and the love for food, the love for vino, just and family. Main thing is a family. And now this venture you started off with, you were in a business in the Hockley Valley Resort, correct?
So that was my parents' business.
Okay, so was it a family business? Like everybody was in it, or no?
Oh, you grew up in it.
You grew up in it, right? So,
I grew up in it.
I skied there, but I think we stayed there. But so I guess when it came to the products and came to the design of the products, when you left, when you said to yourself, okay, you know what, I'm going to venture off on my own. And I think so. At the time that you were cooking, or you're in the chef business with Shopify, you've already left the family business.
Oh, I was long gone.
You were long gone. Okay, so basically on that, I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you first came out with this product, you said, okay, you know what, I'm going to come up with this keto friendly, this different ingredients for healthier choice of people, to help better someone's lifestyle of eating. And I think offline we were talking about when we had our meeting that you're more into saying, okay, what are you offering of your product? You're offering an easy solution, an easy keto solution, correct?
Yeah, it was, when I sort of first started looking at the ketogenic diet, being a professional chef.
Right.
And then sort of like transplanting myself to, an individual situation, going on to a ketogenic diet.
Okay.
It's kind of it's like telling somebody, hey, you're going to cook now, but you can only use 10% of the ingredients you used to cook with.
Right.
That's what makes keto so hard, right? Because you're eliminating, such a massive portion of what they used to eat. And now their diet is so restricted, and therefore what they can cook is become very restrictive. So what we found with people who were going on these low carb ketogenic diets is that they were getting bored really quickly. And it, imagine eating bacon and eggs every single day.
Right.
Like,
it's good for 3-4 days, but it's like, holy fuck, man. It's like,
you lose your mind.
You lose your mind.
Right? You lose your mind. So really, FarmGirl was, it was about how do we make keto easy, right? And at the same time is how do we make it so you're not missing out on everything you used to make, right? So,
and I think today too, people want, lifestyles are so hectic today. They want something that's simple, easy, yet follows a certain dietary restriction for them, if need be. As created, for your life, I guess started that way, and and I think trying to make it easy as possible, and with variety, right? Variety,
absolutely.
Flavor, again, model flavor matters. Right?
Flavor matters. I mean,
it's all about right.
And you have a wide variety of products. You have how many SKUs?
We're at about 22 SKUs.
That's awesome.
That is incredible, and it's like, and everything is, we talk, and I wrote down a couple things about, do they call you a food scientist? Is that your background? Is that like, do you take a product and you're like, I gotta fucking find out how this is made,
Yeah. So
is it exciting for you, or is it just like that's
my juice, man. Like my foray into the food industry was, well, when your parents are in food, you start as a dishwasher, right? So,
sure, of course, man. You're doing the shit show, buddy.
Right. So you start there, and as I sort of worked through the family business, I fell in love with wine. Chianti, ironically, is one of my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I became a sommelier at 21 years old.
Did
right?
you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
should have got something better than that.
That's okay.
You're probably like, what the fuck is this guy serving me? This...
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. So, but
A sommelier 21?
at 21, right? So this was
Holy shit, man.
So this would have been 23 years ago, which, the industry back then, 23 years ago,
Was booming though.
it was booming, but it was you're really seeing the introduction of, at that time, Australian wine. So you
Oh,
think,
yeah,
right?
okay,
So it was
right.
the influx of Australian heavy oaked, big Chardonnays,
Yeah.
right? So, people in North America, I would say their palates were still very immature when it came to wine, right? But, the knowledge of wine taught me,
I think more so here in Canada alone.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
but being a sommelier, I'll tell you what it taught me. It taught me that, when I was in New York and I was sommeliering down there, and I would work at night at restaurants, and there was this one guy, he taught me everything, but more than I learned from being a sommelier at school. And he said to me, he says, Peter, you know what? People don't give a shit about the details of the wine, what fucking soil it grew in, this and that. What they care more about is the story of the wine. That's what sells it, right? So I was like, that stuck with me, and it's that you could take that and translate that into your brand, right? It's your your brand story will have way more of a powerful effect than what the attributes of your product are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Agree.
You are absolutely right on that. And I didn't even know you were freaking sommelier. I mean, like
I just downed half the bottle.
I've got more of this shit wine. No, no, it's actually not bad. You know what? It's
not bad.
I should have brought the wine today.
Well, listen, I do like I enjoy the wine. I enjoy the I love the wine. Okay, and I love the red wine. I love our go-to wine with my wife and I is like a Pepoli. It's it's a very nice wine. It's nice and deep. I find this one, the Chianti. This one here is a little more lighter.
It's a podcast wine.
It's a podcast wine.
you go.
You said it perfectly.
There you go.
But I love the fact that you're into wines because I love it. I'd love to know more about it. I have a friend of mine who's a sommelier as well, and he took the courses, and so we talk about it all the time. He actually, he's a good friend of mine, and he does sends me some really, really good wines. Like he's got, like his wine fridge is probably that whole wall.
Yeah.
And he's got 5,000 bottles of wine. He says, where the fuck am I? I want to drink this wine. So here, have one for your podcast. You got a special time for your podcast. Go take this, right? So I'm like, this is amazing. But that, again, that's another podcast about wines. There's a lot of talk about keto diets, and you said it perfectly. You're limited, and there's so much. And I had a great guest. She's a good friend of mine. Was on the show. She's a nutritionist, and she's she does not agree with the diets. Obviously, everyone has their opinions on how they operate their business, right? So she's more into yes, you can eat what you want to eat, but in moderation and healthy living and exercise. And I get that. So to go back to the keto side of things, is that yes, I went on keto, and it wasn't a modified one. We all did it as a group. We're like, let's fucking try it, whatever. You've probably heard us 1,000 times, right? Mm-hmm. So we tried it out, and yeah, you know what? You lose a few pounds, you get 10, 11 pounds, whatever it's going to be, but I lost the interest in cooking differently for that particular diet because I ran out of options.
Yeah.
My wife and I were like, what are we gonna fucking have? Well, you can have eggs. I'm gonna have this, and it's like it wasn't enjoyable anymore, right? No. So when you go back and you say, you know what, you come up with this product that these are different ingredients that I can have a pizza, a low carb pizza.
You would never know it's low carb.
Yeah. That is amazing. Like that definitely got to try that out for sure. And I think that's the great part of your brand is that you created a white bread ingredient that's like a white bread, like a Wonder Bread, but 90% carb free, cut off the carbs. Mm-hmm. So who in the right mind would ever think about this?
I know, it's great.
Right? I mean, it's almost like you can offer that as a sandwich. You wouldn't even know, obviously you have to cook the bread, you bake the bread and so forth, but, do you have restaurants that use your product for healthy eating or healthy, menus? I mean, obviously pre-pandemic, not now, but
yeah. So the last commercialized product we developed is a product called Pizza Pro.
Okay.
So we modeled that off of double O flour out of Italy.
right,
So it was to work in high heat applications, so in ovens up to 900 degrees.
right,
So that product will get worldwide distribution. So that'll be mixed in Europe, Asia, Australia, Canada.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that will be that. That's going to, we have a frozen pizza company that's launching a frozen pizza. And they have distribution throughout Loblaws and so they're launching. So what that product will allow pizza industry to do is it'll allow them to get into the ketogenic low carb market quickly, fast, rapidly.
right,
And we've built in something called freeze thaw technology, which is the biggest problem when you get into frozen foods.
Yeah.
Crystallization of
Right.
water, and it
Right.
it distorts.
Is that like freezer burn? Is basically what it is, or
No, it's not freezer burn, but
different?
it's just yeah. No, it's different.
Yeah,
the
it's
crystallization, I guess, is different than
Yeah. So when you're freezing something, the crystallization of water damages the cell structures within
Gotcha. Okay.
within bread. So we had to build that in. So you're going to see that product. It won't be under FarmGirl, but we're getting brands the ability to take their current distribution channels, right, and launch, low carb, healthier options really quickly and easily.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I love the versatile of different of the products that you have, and to get into and I'm sure everything is all delicious, from granola to cereals to cake mix to breads. I guess, when did you realize this? You started 2 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago,
2.5.
2.5. Okay, 2.5 years ago, but it was good. I mean, listen, because we talk about we're in our infancy stages of our business, and to get amazing knowledge and advice or ideas that validate our sort of thinking on business is amazing, because we're obviously I'm not gonna plug our sauce, but we're in this great hot sauce business, and we want to just take it to the next level. But to see what you've done, to hear what you've done, I did some research on your company, and it's like, you have a product that is designed for people that need that for I guess for health reasons, and there's people that will have it for just like, I want to change my style of eating, or the kids, like you have the cereal with the no sugar or low sugar, that's catered to more of the kids. We can talk about that, obviously, right? So that is a great business brand, but also it is for the people, like for mothers, young families, that the kids will eat those fucking Cocoa Puffs all day long, and all of a sudden, the obesity level and or the sugar content. I mean, obviously sugars are completely like bad for you, obviously. So maybe just talk a bit more about that.
Yeah. So I'll touch on the cereal line first. We're currently in development of it's an extruded cereal product. So it's if you think of Cheerios and Corn Puffs, and if you think of the cereal aisle,
right,
it's the biggest aisle in the grocery store for a reason.
Right.
Right.
It's true.
It's huge, right? It's an entire aisle.
Cheaply made, addictive.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's a candy store for families.
Well, it's what it is it's cheap because it's subsidized. Yeah. Right? So it's subsidized, whether through government programs, whether it's grains, sugar, corn, whatever it may be. That's so it's artificially cheap.
Okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Is really what it is. So we have a line of kids cereals that will reduce the insulin spike that a kid has, and people think, oh well, feed kids these incredibly sugar-rich cereals. Well, there's a lot of studies out there that show that kids are way more susceptible to those insulin spikes, right, than actually adults. And you just have to know a kid. You give a kid candy.
Yeah, candy.
And
They're off the walls.
They're off the walls, right? Like as you got to see, right? So
Right.
when you're giving your kid that cereal in the morning,
Yeah.
you know, and then they're going to school, like their brain activity and everything is like it's crazy, right? So yeah, that's going to be an interesting market to tackle because you know we're going up against some huge multinational you know companies and you know with massive research budgets. So you know we have to use the resources that are available to you know small companies that exist now,
Right.
if you know how to use them,
Right. Right.
where you can get a ton of market research and market feedback,
Yeah.
right? That's free. Actually, they'll pay you, right? Right. It's called Amazon.
Right. Okay.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, if you know how to use it,
Right.
right? Where you can get great feedback and, you know, and you know, just, and sort of like, you know, take your product and refine it and change it, you know, and then do a mass market introduction where you know it's going to be successful.
I think, you know, what's really important and what's really changed out there in the market is, and I'm sure you can agree to this, you know, the consumer has become very aware of products, of what they're eating, or become more aware, you know, and I think that having those products available to them, you know, takes time, I think, to get into that market. But I think, you know, the majority of people that are becoming more aware of it and, you know, are appreciative of it. And, you know, at the end of the day, if it costs a little bit more, but it's that much more healthier for you, you know, does that much more for you, you know, brings some type of quality to your meals, you know, to your kids' meals, to yourselves, you know, it's changing. Absolutely. It's changing. I really believe that, you know?
Yeah. I think post-pandemic is going to be interesting. Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going to happen after everyone goes back to going to the grocery stores and you know, will your sales be affected by that? Probably not.
No, I don't. You know, we're omni-channel, right? So I don't. You know, we've sort of spread ourselves out, so you know we can absorb. You know, if there's a downturn in one, you know, it's going to be picked up in another. Right. Which is the benefit.
Sure.
You know, it's the benefit of having strong B2C.
Okay.
Right. But then at the same time, you know, not relying on traditional forms of distribution that we've been subjected to for the last, you know, I don't know, how long has it been? Maybe 50, 60 years? I don't think the food industry has really changed in regards to distribution, you know, with, you know, the last 50 years. I think the change is now.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. Huge changes are being made. And it's like, you know, I think that the online sales are just, like you said, if one channel is going to be, you know, not sacrificed, but sort of affected by post, that the other channel will help out. When you say B2C, when you say business to consumer, you know, just so people understand is that, you know, that whole structure of, you know, you have to understand is that if I'm going to sell a product online or in the stores, I got to make sure that after, let's say, post-pandemic or during pandemic, one's got to work and more than the other, let's say, right? So there's no, I don't know what the balance of it, but that's I'm not going to get into the business side of things. I love the product. I love to. I want to know more about it. That's why we're gonna try it out because we're always. My wife's an awesome cook. She's loves to bake. She's Portuguese, you know. So fed very well, but you know, I enjoy her style. She's very creative. So I want to see what this is all about, right? What the taste is like. Because she makes her own pizza dough. She makes her own pizzas. We have Friday night pizzas, right? This is the type of stuff that I want to see try out.
Pizza is the trick in pizza is texturization, right? Texture is like, you know, but pizza at the same time, it's kind of like wine, right? Where, you know, like me personally, I don't like traditional Napolitana pizza.
Okay.
Like, you know, people say I don't.
I'm the same.
I don't, right? So. You know, people go, oh, I love libretto. Yeah, libretto. It's a good pizza,
right?
But I don't like. I take Toroni. I know people are gonna fucking bash me for this, right? You know what I mean? But
you take that over Napolitana.
I'll take a Toroni style. You know, which, you know, I can reverse engineer Toroni's pizza dough as to what's different between that and libretto. But I prefer it, right? So pizza is one of those things where it's totally preference, right?
Right.
Like, you know, one size definitely does not fit all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's such a versatile meal, right? You can
so much
plan it to and fix it, make it as you choose. Millions of different ways of
course.
doing it.
Yeah. And the guests, the followers that are going to be watching the show, I've got messages, when I put the post out, tons of messages saying, "Listen, I'm using the keto diet. I can't wait to see can't wait to hear and see what your guest has to talk about." So it is interesting because I would, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm never going to go back on the keto diet unless, medically I had to for some reason, right? But I would definitely, the product you have, I would use it in my daily living of food.
Yeah.
So it's not just about you have to buy this in order to go on a diet. It's not about that.
No.
It's about just the fact that you can have the exact same taste, if not better, but healthy for you.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's what, to me, is what it's about. What's good for me as a consumer is what I want for myself and my kids, right? Because I mean, like, during the pandemic, our kids, just sitting at home. Some have jobs. This is great, but how quick it is to make a quick, small little pizza and just cut it up, save it for lunch tomorrow, the next day, take it to work, whatever's got to be. So it's easy. It simplifies things, which I love. I love simplicity. I think the generation below us has, they are more into simplicity. They're more into, like, I want to buy things. I'm going to go on takeout and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, I don't think that I don't agree with the Skip the Dishes and the Uber Eats. I don't agree with the 30% charges they charge. Local small mom and pa's, they take 30 points out of their bottom line. I'm not into that, right?
I can tell you, when this pandemic's over, I'm eating at a restaurant for like 10 days straight.
That's right.
Minimum.
If we can get in.
Yeah, if we get in.
If we can get in.
Yeah.
I'm in the music industry and as well as the car industry, and you got to come by my shop one day. So, but that's another topic because we're into cars. But yeah, I mean, like, the music industry completely died out, and I talk about this on my podcast. Is like this pandemic, basically decimated the small business industry, and I love seeing companies come back or sustain itself during this pandemic. So what like the whole premise of the podcast is just it is a free speech. Talk about anything you want to fucking talk about. Whether it gets out to the bigger people, I don't give a shit. I bash people. I don't care. I mean, it's all about free speech and what we can talk about. But it's also about, but I focus on the fact that we build this, you got this business, this core of business. And I love to know, because Dino, you're a businessman. You have your own business, but we all learn every day. We learn about other people's business and say, oh my God, fuck, he's doing that. Yeah. I love that. I love learning about that. And I'm sure everyone also wants to know about how does he grow from this to this? How does he get, like, starting off with like almonds or, just things like that, and selling it and creating a business out of it. Right. So whether the keto was at the time where, like, it was we talked about luck, every business has luck. We talk about, maybe keto was strong at that time. People were going on keto so that your product came out at that exact same time, and it escalated. It's partial reason why, the success is, right? Now, to go back to your products, who designs or who creates these products? Like, what goes on? Does things go on in your head? Like, you're like a million miles an hour, like, I gotta fucking create this. Like, who does all that?
So the answer is me. Yeah, no, I realized really early on that, to compete in this market, you need to be fast and you need to be nimble, right?
Okay.
So we had an option, it was co-pack or manufacture. Right. And really, when you're in the industry, it's those two things. And if you went on Dragon's Den, they'd be like, co-pack, why would you want to focus on manufacturing, right? The problem with co-packing is particularly, when I looked at when I looked at the market, I looked and I said, well, what encompasses being able to make keto easy? It's not 2 SKUs. It's not 3 SKUs, right? It's like probably 40, 50 SKUs. We're only at like 22 right now. So how do I get with the capital that I've got to that point of where we could take enough of the market, right? And the only way for us to do that would be to mix and pack on our own. So that's what we started, is we started by, focusing on mixing, packing, bagging our own stuff. And it was really primitive when we started. Like I'm talking, man, like
laser jet printer,
Uline labels, like printing onto a bag, scoop into a bag, sending it to Amazon. Right. And it was, it was really, really primitive. Right. Yeah. But, the difference was, and I think you're going to really, really see this post-pandemic is, there's a way more influence on, I think you're going to see the medical community in people's lives a lot more, right? Okay. You're going to see public health, whether you like it or not, in people's lives a lot more. There's going to be a much more influence on individual health. And I think individual health is going to be broken up into, there's going to be subsets of individual health, whether it's public, mental, physical. And I think right now we focused a lot on physical. I think mental is going to become a big part.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. And I think what's going to sort of, what's going to correlate with those two is people are going to start to connect with brands that they view as being authentic, and their stories are going to be authentic, and they're going to connect with individuals.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. And I think as I can go through how we started and whatever, and I think I think what the most important thing during our entire journey was we never strayed from that authenticity of what we were trying to accomplish, right? Even to this day. Yeah. So. Yeah.
But we talked offline about many ways of attracting engagement in the business, and you said, which is really hits us is, being with the just customer to customer, like being more. I'm going to do this over again, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that as a small business, we talked offline about direct-to-consumer, being more with them, like, engagement in the emails. Yes. You said emails.
Yeah, you have to look at, I think if you're going to go B2C, you better be good at relationships, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about, you have to think about it as like us having a relationship. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, right? And that's what B2C is the tools that you build, whether it's through content, blogs, video, whatever it is, anything that you can create that's going to help the consumer along using your product, right? You're going to strengthen your B2C. If you just think that you're going to put shit up online on a website or Shopify website and sell it, give your head a shake. Right? It's
not about customer relation, customer service. It's all customer
100%, right? 100, and as we were talking offline, is when you start on that B2C journey, it's like you're climbing a ladder, right? And that ladder is purely based on how many relationships you're building. The more relationships you build, you need to build systems and tools that allow you to foster those relationships better and in a more automated way, right? If you're not going to, if you can't give a customer now an answer now, right? So if I'm on your website and I got an answer because, you messed up a shipment, or, I tried your bread mix and it didn't rise and I need help, you're going to lose them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's where we said that on our website, we should have a great CRM type of app for the website. And totally agree with that. Because being on your website, I'm like, okay, you have a rewards program, and you also have a CRM, you have a chatbot, which is great because everyone, to be honest with you, when I'm surfing a site and I'm on a site and I see the chat site, the chatbot, and it pops up and says, hey, listen, how can I help you? Are you looking for something? Like you said, are you going to barbecue this weekend? I got the fucking perfect thing for you this weekend, right? Yeah. That shit there, people like it. It brings it's like, oh my god, I got a barbecue this weekend. Yeah, So I love that aspect of it, and
But that just strengthens your relationship with your customer too. Your whole story.
Yeah.
If you're going to create this story, or you're going to tell your story,
right,
you have to make it real at one point too, right? Where your customers, so they believe that what you're offering there, and I think that's what we are all trying to do here. We're trying to we've created a story that is real,
right?
That is real, and that customer relation that you build there just strengthens that even more so, right? So
you in for wine?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Keep talking.
Are we gonna get another twist off there, buddy? It's getting warm down here, or is it just me?
I don't know. It's not bad. I mean, it's not. I don't have the windows open, but I mean, I find myself drinking more fucking booze when I do the podcast because we feature new drinks and stuff like that, and I also get we get a lot of craft beer companies that are interested in sending product over, and it's like my wife's like, you've been fucking drinking way more than what we used to. I'm like, I know, but
and Nelly's a good partner for that too. Right?
Nelly's a great great influence. He's a great influencer,
Absolutely.
To go back in the influence programs, which is great influencers, bloggers, vloggers. Do you find yourself? Do you have a bunch of? Do you have sort of set influences you deal with, or you created?
Yeah, we do. I think, the more people you get your product to, you're naturally going to get to people. Like you have to really, I think the first thing you got to do is define what an influencer is, right?
Okay.
There's individuals who you can go out, you can pay, they'll promote your product, right? They'll mostly do it through giveaways.
Okay.
Do we do that? Yes, right. But then at the same time is, an influencer, and you got to treat it this way. Is an influencer going to be somebody on Instagram who's just got, 150 followers, right? They're talking to somebody, right? Or they've got, 2,000 followers, right? So, and I think if you treat, the relationships where everybody's an influencer, your brand will spread much quicker, right? Does that make sense?
Fair point, man. That's awesome. No, seriously. I mean, and that's where the engagement with customers at a level where it's like, somebody that buys your product would love to talk to you and say, Peter, this thing is amazing. Yeah. Like, I love it. I love going here for recipes. And we were talking offline about, creating ways of engagement for people. It's like you created a private Facebook page for people that are cooking, baking with your products.
Yes.
And I think that is a fucking brilliant idea because you share recipes, you post their recipes on your site. And if I'm not mistaken, if you'll give away also like a gift certificate for your site for your products based on how do you do that? Like, you just pick something randomly, or you just
so we create a format as to the way you need to, you have to create the recipe so that somebody else can recreate it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. That's pretty much, the rule. We set up it's a private chefs community.
Okay.
Of individuals who, they're heavy users of the product, so they're they're buying a lot, they're making a lot, and there's some amazing chefs. Like, you see the stuff that these people are creating, and it's just like, wow. And so what they do is, they allow, I guess, individuals who are coming into the diet, and individuals, you have to understand, as individuals come into, if you want to call it keto adapted, really the biggest trend is low sugar, right? That's the biggest trend, right? Okay. So what that private Facebook group does is it's people helping people. It's evergreen content that individuals are producing, and we just create incentives for people to help people more.
So you basically just you create it, you create the umbrella, but you let the people help people out.
Yes.
Okay. I think it's fucking awesome. Yeah. And you touched on a great topic about low sugar or no sugar, and that's a thing that people are wanting to know, are wanting to their lifestyle is like, okay, no sugar, or because it's the sugars that's bad for you, right? The white flours, that sort of stuff. So I guess that whole industry of like, creating that Facebook page, people helping people out, I think is brilliant. Love that fact of that happening, because for us, it's like, we could do the same thing. Any company could do that. Anybody could do it. Okay. It is the free tools are there for that, and it's great people such as yourself that gives us, the ideas, because we never thought about that. Yeah, we have our own Facebook page, but it's more like it's just a different avenue. When I post something, it gets posted there.
Yeah.
I don't engage in anything there, but I want to. So getting these ideas is like getting these fucking creative juices flowing through me, right? So, which helps out in our meetings, because we're like, let's try this, let's do this, let's do that. I love it. Do you have any any celebrity chefs, any celebrities that use your product at all?
I would have no idea.
You have no idea.
Who, actually, no. Who, I'm trying to think.
Like anybody reach out to you, say, hey, man, this is...
There's been 3 of the Dragons who've reached out to me directly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. The Canadian Dragons, or like...
Canadian. Yeah, Canadian.
U.S. are the Sharks.
Yeah, U.S.
Oh, yeah, shit, that's right. The Shark Tanks. Fuck.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah. Who else? No, I couldn't... I really wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Like, let's see, Michael Jordan. Fucking, but I just always like to find out. Like, I'm a measurable guy. I like to know.
Well, the thing is, maybe on Amazon, but the problem with Amazon is you have no idea who you're selling to.
Right, and that's what we talked about before. It's like Amazon, you have no idea.
So I would guarantee. Yeah, the answer is I guarantee yes.
Yes.
Right. But would I know? No.
Right. Right. And you're selling to the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay. Volume wise, you're doing more in U.S. or Canada?
Oh, it's pretty even.
It is, eh?
Yeah.
What's your target for, like, who are you targeting? You targeting like vegans? You have groups that you target? Do you create groups that you like? Do you have like certain people that's okay? We're going to target vegans on Facebook. We're going to target, celiac or gluten-free people on this group. Do you go that direction?
So if I were to sort of explain, so Facebook, Google, Amazon are all individual ecosystems on their own.
They're okay.
Yeah. So they're treated very, very differently.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, we can have an entire podcast on.
Right.
How you do Amazon.
And a lot of more wine.
Yeah. A lot more wine, yeah.
Better wine. But.
Yeah.
I got a sommelier in this fucking holy shit, man.
Google is really just about, it's about understanding keyword trends.
Right.
It's about, SEO, understanding, for Google really, the first thing we look at is our content strategy is really driven by Google and Google Trends. So, I was saying that, this month, for whatever particular reason, in the keto field, salmon recipes for keto are the #1 search. So our content creation and blog posts and everything will be directed towards things that are getting the highest amount of search volume. Mm-hmm. And that content, will then be published, produced, and then we'll benefit from, from that SEO. Facebook, Facebook, because our pixel has just gotten so much data, we can target really, really well. But if I were to start, I think what you want to do on Facebook is you want to kind of create an avatar of who your customer is first, or multiple versions of an avatar, if that makes sense, right? And then you'd kind of advertise to that net of individuals, and then bring them into a funnel, and then see which, based on whether it's interests, are converting the best, right?
Okay.
So, our Facebook strategy now is we just base things off lookalike audiences, which is after your pixel on your website has been hit so many times, what Facebook ideally wants you to do is they want you to spend as much money with them as possible. So their goal is to create as efficient and effective as a marketing platform as they possibly can, right? And that's why, their system is incredibly invasive, right? It's, iOS just did an update, which had a huge effect, on Facebook's targeting, but
not Android though.
not Android. No, not Android. Apple, yes.
Yeah.
Which, I think as a result of that, I think if your website, if you are B2C,
yeah,
if your strategy is not gathering email addresses, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. It's very good information on that part. To go into the Facebook pixels and the algorithms and all that sort of stuff with the new ISO from Apple. So Apple just introduced their new operating system where they basically you can turn off in a second all your information that is through Facebook. So there's no all those everyone you ever get that where you're online and you're talking about forefathers, you're talking about FarmGirl. All of a sudden, you look through your Facebook and you see ads from FarmGirl come up or forefathers. That's what that whole thing's about.
Correct.
So with Apple introducing this new update, you can turn that off so you don't release personal information to Facebook. How much business does that fucking lose because of that?
Oh, I can't imagine.
It's craziness. But then again, listen, Facebook is the social media side of things. I try to think of ways. We all try to think of ways of capitalizing on monetization of our business, how we can make money on that. And it's a learning curve. So and I think we should focus on efforts that truly engage clients, direct to consumer, opposed to I guess what I'm trying to say is we should focus on more of like our energies on things that are going to focus on clients, direct to consumer. Not just saying, oh, we're gonna sell to 1,000 stores and let's see what happens. Yeah. It's not going to work that way.
Selling to 1,000 stores, yeah, you know what? For some people it works. It doesn't work for us.
Right.
It's not the direction we took.
Right.
But
well, in your product line, is there huge competition in your product line?
Yes. I think I don't think you can go anywhere without there being competition, right?
Right.
So I don't think there is any sort of blue ocean.
Right.
That
like you're not the only one.
You're not the only one, but I think I think there's always room for you to differentiate, for sure, right?
The way to brand your product,
brand, your positioning,
yeah.
what, and I think most importantly is what is your offer, right? Like if you're in B2C, you really need to define what your offer is, and you need to test that offer, right? Or else, you're swimming in bloody waters,
right?
Pardon the pun of the sharks, right? But you
sure.
You really are. So
right. So it's like when we talk about an offer, it's like what does your company offer to a client to purchase that product? Ours would be like
I think you can even take it even a step back, and go, what are you going to offer that's even going to give you the right to an individual's information, particularly that of an email address.
Fair point.
Right. Yeah. So if you kind of think of like your top of funnel,
right,
that's your top of funnel. Your top of funnel is, and if you're in the B2C, food and beverage space is, your first like, hey, you're going to trust me, is for you to give me your email address.
And that's tough.
It is. You know what?
Do you find it tough? Well, there's ways of doing it. Like, the pop-ups that comes up on the website.
So tough is defined by, you define tough by a metric, and that metric is what is your cost. You can break it down, and this is why, for me, going the distribution, route made no sense, is because, I can define an email address with a dollar figure, right? And then I can define that email address with, if I get 10 email addresses, I can convert 50% of them into a sale on the website. And of that 50%, I can retain 75% of them on a second purchase and 65% on a third. And therefore I could define the value of an individual email address, right, to a dollar figure, which you can't do. And this is why B2C, I think nowadays, if you're not if you're not seriously as a food brand looking at B2C as a strategy, oh boy, man, like,
yeah, you'd be in trouble.
Well, you're missing opportunity. You're missing out, right?
Right, you're missing out on major opportunities of business.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't get that in the distribution side, right?
No.
When you have a distributor,
Right.
distributing
You're
product.
relying on them
Absolutely.
to sell your product.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we don't even rely on them, to be honest with you. You know, when we looked at, traditional, distribution, I know, as I say, I don't think it's changed in 50 years. Yeah. I would be surprised if it has, right? So
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and there's B2B platforms that, any food brand, could build a B2B platform, no joking, within about 30 minutes. And that's not me being a salesman,
Right.
For, companies out there that do B2B platforms. Like, it's literally, what companies like Shopify and B2B Wave, what they've done is they've removed that whole tech portion that you used to have to hire a coder and, gone.
Yeah.
Right. So now what you could just focus on is you can focus on marketing and what your offer is. Right. So
Interesting. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
What's your go-to food? What do you like to eat?
like if I was going to die tomorrow,
Yeah.
pasta.
There you go.
A hot. Now let me tell you, a high carb pasta.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Pasta's pasta.
Of course.
Dino, what about you, man?
Yeah.
Same
I'd have
thing.
to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? I missed. Me, I would say the same thing. Like, what comes to my mind with me is my mother. She would make the amazing veal cutlet.
Yeah.
You know, the home, like the real breaded. She waited. She kept the bread. You know, then grinded it up and this and that. Right, and that was my favorite. But yeah, homemade pasta. Oh my God, unbelievable.
You can attest. I mean, how many meals we had together? You know, when we were kids. It's like it was the best memories. You know, just sitting around the table. And just,
absolutely.
You know,
Sunday lunches
so
would be
loud
like,
and
Sunday lunch.
crazy.
They'd be like the soup will be starting at 7:30 in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys are cousins, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go way back. Yeah. Now, how many food, foodies are in your family? Like, I mean,
Oh my God.
you know, yourself, your brother John is into cooking as well.
I think our family's made up of construction and food. You know? That's what it is, right?
Typical Italian type
yeah,
of family.
yeah.
You know? Oh my God, my dad was a butcher by trade, meat cutter by trade.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you know what it is when you grow up with good food.
yeah, oh yeah.
If you don't know how to cook, you're marrying into a cook.
Yeah.
I'll put my hand up on that one. I'll tell you right now. Of course, for sure.
Yeah.
When Michelle, my wife, when she's like, "Your mother's making because before I married, I bring my wife Michelle, my girlfriend at the time. I would bring her to my house for Sunday afternoon because she's like, "What's your mom gonna make today?"
Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna make pasta. Oh my God, I can't wait. She rolls the pasta. She does.
Yeah.
Man, those times, you're not going to get that now with the generation below us. You're not get that. Like I tell my kids all the time, I said, man, you should learn how to cook. You should learn how to find ways of eating healthy, not the easy way of buying shit and eating shit.
Yeah.
Because it's going to catch up to you, and it's not catching up right now, but it will catch up to them.
Yeah.
You know, how many kids you have? One kid. Daughter? How old is she?
7.
7.
Yeah.
Oh, young. Okay. Well, you met you met 2 of my boys. I got 3 boys. Lucas is my oldest, and Jacob is and then Marco's my youngest. We got 3 boys, and Dino, you have 3. You have 17.
17 kids. Yeah. Lost count.
Lost count.
Four kids.
4 kids. And obviously amazing cook. So to go back to, we just try to find ways of eating healthy. You know, telling our kids, you know what? Why are you grabbing that fucking this? Like we try to train them to eat and to make something simple to make, right? So, and yet they're trying because they see what goes on out there, and there's a lot of garbage out there. So I'm glad that I was introduced to your product because I want to I love local. I love supporting local. I love learning about new business, such as yourself. And anyone can enjoy your making a product with your ingredients, your products, and that's what it's all about. And I think that's the whole key to this, is that it's not about going on the diet. It's just about eating healthy. Yeah. And you have the 22 different ways of eating healthy. Fuck, caramel banana bread, really? Like with 0 sugars?
0.
Crazy. Try it out.
I'm going to. I'm going to.
Yeah.
Our beverage tonight is a Chianti that Peter did not request, but likes Chianti, and he's a sommelier. So I'm embarrassed to say what kind of wine it is, but it's a great wine. Obviously in the liquor store, and
as Peter says, it's a great podcast wine.
It's a great podcast wine. It's a Chianti. It's a Gabbiano, and I've talked about this wine before. So it is. Listen, a wine. We talked about prices. We talked about there's a $200 bottle of wine. You can have a 18 bottle of wine. Taste delicious. Depends your taste.
When I was a sommelier, you would never give a Pinot Noir to a Shiraz drinker.
Okay.
And you can go get a $350 bottle of Chevy Chambertin.
Yeah.
If a guy drinks $18 Wolf Blass, he's gonna freaking hate it.
Yeah.
Right.
What is the most expensive wine you had?
Oh man.
Well, here we go. There's many of those.
Yeah, no, let's put it this way. I've had the luxury of working with some uber rich people who, you know what it is when you get to the uber rich, like I'm talking the stupid rich. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like their wine cellars are just about show.
Oh my
right?
God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like they're just about.
But wouldn't it be amazing to see that though? Like
it is amazing, but it's like there's no way I could ever have 5,000 bottles of wine in my house. Like
right.
I never have more than 10.
Yeah.
I know. Because you're drinking it. You're drinking it.
It lasts that long.
No, it's and usually when they get down to like 0, and I'm like, shit, I got no more wine.
Yeah.
Right?
Fucking liquor store. God damn it.
Yeah, and I gotta go back to the liquor store. Right. So anyway, so yeah, when I was a practicing sommelier, I had the luxury of working with some people,
right.
Private collections who just had some. Like, they like some people were just, and you know what it is these are the people who had like no palate. Like they had no palate. You can when somebody's got a palate, right?
Right.
But it was just like, they'd have like Ornellaia, right? Which is the same region as this, right? They'd have like Ornellaia, but they'd have like 20 years.
Wow.
Right? So like flights of 20, and it was just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
They don't even know what that is.
You don't even know.
They don't even know what it is. Come on, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, that's just show.
You're just buying it because you got the money for it, right?
Sure.
Oh my God. I would love to.
At best, we'll call it investment, right? So they can,
at best,
right?
or just hey, I could afford it. Fuck, I'm gonna buy it.
No, but you know what? There's like, you can buy amazing bottles of wine for under $30.
Oh yeah,
I believe you.
I agree.
I totally believe you. Yeah, no, absolutely right. Dino's brought over $9 bottles of wine. No, I'm just kidding. But
nine's hard.
Nine's
hard, right?
There's a couple out there that I've had, and I'm not anywhere near your palate.
No, you like a $9. Here's the thing with a $9 wine. A $9 wine can drink like an $18 bottle of wine, but it can never drink more than that.
Right? Can't drink a $30 wine.
No.
Like not like a J Lord.
Like,
you can't have a $9 wine that tastes like a J Lord.
No.
Like is that my dog?
Yeah, or else. Well, maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I was saying I'm not a practicing sommelier, but I haven't had one.
Right.
So
no, of course. And my dog is joining us. Marley is joining us tonight. So yeah, listen. I mean, I love the chat, love to talk about it. And after this podcast, I'll be doing a live music set on all over here, and we'll put it up on our podcast and so forth. This podcast is brought to you by Forefathers and sponsored by FarmGirl. And believe it or not, he's gonna actually give away something, hopefully. So we're gonna give away, and I don't even know what the fuck we're gonna give away, but I think I spoke to you about. do you think we could work together on maybe giving a giveaway package?
Yeah, sure.
You know, what I was thinking about at the top of my mind was like, you know what? Because we give away a 4-pack of our sauces every podcast, and I think the sauces would go amazing with like the low carb pizza crust for people that can, you know, for a homemade pizza kit, you know, with our sauces and the pizza thing. So I think if you're cool with that, we're gonna create it on the fly. We're gonna give away that to a lucky winner, which I'll pick at the end of the podcast, and we'll go from there. But you know, I love the conversations about business and your whole formation and how you developed it and where you got to now. And I think in such a quick time, to be honest with you, that's definitely super quick. You said it could be luck. Partially, of course, it's going to be luck. Luck is always going to be on your side. We've always had bad luck and good luck. So there's a combination of both. But I really appreciate you coming on board tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
You know, it's been great. Dino, thank you so much for coming on board as our co-host. The web links for the stream are going to list all my 5 channels after the podcast, all on the web link. You'll see it. Catch us on Spotify, Google, and now on YouTube. Please subscribe to YouTube for us. We are on, just search the Kitchen Mix Podcast, and you'll find us on there. Again, Peter, thanks so much for taking the time to come out tonight. It's been amazing and great journey. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely have you back, and hopefully we'll be in a much better scenery here. Looks like that we're in some type of cafeteria behind us, but whatever. It is what it is. We're having a good conversation.
That's it.
You know, it is what it is, and I love it. I want to thank everybody tuning in the podcast tonight. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. And enjoy the rest of the show, as I'll be on the turntables after this, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Peter. Dino, thanks so much, guys.
No problem,
We'll talk to you soon. Take care.